Hi, I'm Matt Wells, and I am making this video as a walkthrough for making social media clips, vertical reels out of longer podcasts using Descript, the video editing software Descript. So I will share my screen now. And I already have my long form file downloaded to my desktop. So I'm going to come here, start a new project. It was the Sunday show for the Average Joe Sports Show. I usually shorten it just for the sake of not typing a lot. That would have been 1/5. I'll go Jan 5, 2026. Upload the file from my desktop. Open that. And it's got to upload the video to its cloud software. So that'll take a couple of minutes. I will pause the recording and come back to it here when it's ready. Okay. All right. Now that the file has finished uploading, I'm going to click this little button here to identify speakers. Now, I know that there should only be there's only 4 people in the video, but sometimes people will talk at the same time and it'll kind of disrupt who it thinks is talking. So this is just kind of to help break up the text here. So I'll just go through and click who the speakers should be. All right, now we're back. Corrected the speakers on the transcript. And so here is kind of the primary difference between Descript and like a Premiere or really any of the other big editors is normally with other editors, you're really messing with the the timeline down here to say, okay, well, I want from 406 to 430 or whatever, and I'm gonna pull that out and edit that up. With this software, you're looking at the transcript more than anything. So I will just for example, uh just say, okay, I like what who is this? I like what Bill's saying here about these guys. I want to pull out this clip here. I'm going to copy and paste it. And to pull this out, you go up to the top here and you create a new composition. It's basically like a new clip if you're clipping out a podcast for this. So this is Bill on Nebraska basketball. Just for example, I'm not even sure if that's exactly what he's saying. So this is 23 seconds and looks good. Okay, but you know what? I actually want a little bit more of what he said. So let's see where that was from. Click down here. Okay, that's what I highlighted last time. And so, okay, you know what? I liked what Bill said there. And then I'm going to add in what Gary said here. Copy that, go back here, paste it in, and see it remembers that was Gary talking. And so I can see, okay, that's a 36-second clip. And you know what? I'm aiming for about a 45-second clip. So I'm going to grab, who is it? I'll say, and then I'm going to finish off the video with the clip with what Elijah said down here. So coming back here and okay, 41 seconds. It's about in the neighborhood of what I'm looking for. Now I'm going to click this video. There's 2 kinds of clicks. There's a purple click, which is you editing the size of the video, and then you can double click and mess with where the focus is on the screen. Maybe that's hard to explain, but so okay, I'm going to click it once, come up to here and make it vertical. And it's this software is so crazy simple. Just stretch it down so you can see how I'm highlighted purple. Now I'm going to double click to move the focus. And I like to bring this to about 220 zoom. See, it's not purple, it's the one with the grid lines. And so this is where I'm going to leave it for Bill Dolman. And I'm going to come to here, go there, and split the video. And I'm going to come here, right? Make sure it's lined up and split the video. So now this is Gary talking. I will slide this down so that Gary is in frame. And at the end, this is Elijah talking. So I will slide this over so that Elijah's in frame. So I'll usually go through just to make sure they kind of match up where they're sitting. Usually people kind of move as they talk. So it's not always precise, but this is social media. It doesn't have to be exact always. Okay, and I'll just click play just for... Yeah, looks good. What I also do here, these are it'll auto do these transitions. And that's, you see how it slid down. That's the transition. That's this little thing here. So I'll click that. I'll cut that to about 0.2. And you can watch. See, it goes quicker. So then I'll come to Elijah's and go 0.2 on there as well. Okay, so let's say this, I have the text kind of exactly how I want it. The formatting looks good. So then now I will add on my captions. For these guys, this one is my favorite here, the bold yellow highlight. And so now we can look at the timeline now that we're adding stuff into it. You can see this is the video, this is the audio down here, and this is the captions. Let me bring this into focus. Fit and view. So I clicked here, add captions. It auto applies them kind of generically, quote unquote. And to edit them, I'll click it, and it gets a little tricky with where you're editing exactly. So if the whole thing's highlighted and you go to properties is kind of how you mess with stuff formatting wise. You always want to make sure, not always, but for me, I like to make sure it says all scenes, because what can happen is you can click just like this individual one and these others won't be highlighted, and it becomes a pain from there. But I can see they're all highlighted. I'll make it bigger, the size of it, and then I'll go roughly 100 font. I like to keep it to about 2 lines. And see, okay, so I click it there and you can see how it's just one highlighted, and that'll cause issues if you're trying to edit the full thing. So all scenes there, and I'll go with this red. Matches their branding. Okay, captions are added. Now I'm gonna add a logo, their logo. Let's see. Color, that's the one I want to use. And just while I'm doing this, I'll also add, I call it an end cap, but I don't know if that's the right term. It's just kind of a where people can view the show. I'll toss it at the end of the video. Okay, that's uploaded. So now I have my timestamp at 0. I will add a layer, add in my logo here. I have that as a vector file saved, so it looks good on overlaid. And I'll click it again, and here, see, I want to make sure I'm on all scenes so that it's all highlighted. And just scale it down. I just kind of eyeball this part of it. It can be anything really. That's good there. So the video itself is 41 seconds so far. I'm going to add a new scene. And this is where I'm going to add that graphic end cap. I usually keep this about 3.5 seconds. Click into that there, add the image in, and see it kind of knows what you're trying to do there, and it'll click it in. This looks good so far. And one thing I probably should have done, I normally do at the start is, so I'm going to click back into this primary composition here and go to my AI tools and remove filler words for one. This is part of where Descript is doing its magic here. I know other softwares do it. I know Premiere kind of has this functionality as well, but none of them work as intuitively as Descript. So I'm gonna remove all. It sometimes gets a little caught up here. I think it takes some brain power for the computer to do this. So got my filler words removed. I will also shorten word gaps. And this is where it can be a little dicey because some people talk slowly and they'll let their sentence breathe a little bit. For the most part, I just cut them out, shorten all of these, and you can see it found 440 of them. Because generally that's fine if it doesn't sound super natural, because this is just a 30-minute social media clip and not a long form right podcast. I mean, it's coming from a full podcast, but it's just clipped into a short little thing here. And if it sounds too messed up for anyone specifically, you can always manually re-add that time back in. So I have this now from the primary video here, shortened, tightened, and it'll usually take a couple minutes off of the total runtime. And you can see where it does it. Like here, you can see there's a little line thing, and that's where it's been shrunk, basically. And that could be someone saying or a filler word, right? You can also have when sometimes people repeat themselves and will cut out that word. Like if he's saying this where the cursor is, if he says that is a guy, that will get cut out, which is really cool. So I did this on the primary, and it should actually, yeah, I don't think it applied it to this since it's cut out already. So I will just do it again here. And part of how Descript works is when you buy their subscription, you're buying a certain amount of video minutes per month and AI tools, AI like processing power. The tier that I'm at is like, I think the second or third tier, whichever one allows me to export in 4K, just for higher quality video. But you can use up all of your AI credits if you ask it to do too many things. For doing any of the built-in features of this AI tools, they'll use about 10 credits, and I think the package comes with like 400 or 500 credits a month. So I don't really hit the limit on these, but where you can hit your limit is using this Underlord feature. Then that's like their version of like the ChatGPT or whatever of like you're speaking to a robot thing, and you can ask it to do things, but it uses a lot of the AI power, and you don't really. I've never gotten any of the results I wanted and just blew through my credits. And so I would say you really don't need Underlord for the most part. Just these AI tools are pretty good, just built in. How they offer it. So I'm going to go back to looking at this in full view. This is really visually how I want it. Logo, the word. You can see how I think this is the best caption for these guys because it's not too in your face of what word is changing. From here, I also add in some music. I have a couple. I'll usually just search up like funk pop. Pardon me. And this part doesn't really matter. Something to kind of match the theme of what they're talking about, but just, something that is sounds interesting but isn't too distracting. Yeah, that one sounds good. So I'll add it in, and it'll import it into my video here, and then I always you have to really turn down the volume on it. I'll usually go about 7%, 7 to 10, maybe 12, if it really depends on the volume and clarity of what you're editing to start with. These guys, it kind of varies since they're in 3 or 4 different locations usually, so I'll keep it low. But what it does is when there is a bit of a pause, or someone taking a breath and they're speaking, instead of just dead quiet, then you'll hear the background. You won't necessarily hear it while they're talking, but when they take kind of a brief moment, then you'll hear it come in. So everything looks good. This is how my timeline should look. I'll just do a quick playthrough. Steve, I didn't. What they're saying isn't. This wouldn't be a normal clip. I'm making this really just for an example. Normally it would flow better, and really these clips don't need to be very long. Real clips, unless it's something really awesome they're talking about, usually you just want to give them a taste of really like a sentence or two from Bill, a sentence or two from Gary, a sentence or two from Chris, in terms of all talking about the same thing, whether it's all they're talking about basketball, or maybe they're talking about one of the players. Just catching a couple clips of that same topic to come out to a 30-40 second video is really, I think, keeps it fun, fast, digestible. But the hard part is that you can't synthesize the whole podcast into 20 seconds in terms of like the kind of morale they have, the little jokes, the insider jokes, or things like that. So it's like accepting that you can't get it all into a short little clip, is part of it. But you do enough of them, then it'll catch on. So everything about this looks pretty good. Logo is all in the right spot. So now to export it, it'll auto default to a web link or something, but I'll do local export, meaning onto my computer. That all looks good. I'll hit export, save it to my desktop, and go. Yeah, just put that title it already has. Save, and it'll give you the countdown, and then yeah, everything's good from there. But yeah, okay, this was a kind of an introductory walkthrough of how to use Descript to make social clips out of podcasts or longer form media. It's really a revolutionary tool for social media video, and I highly recommend it.